Verve is doing. Verve is a great man, a great Jewish man, you know, and he has succeeded on, you know, pointing his fingers in the eyes of the Finnish government, because Finnish government has actually, you know, deviated from the reality. What they should have done is play a role, not even consular role, a true patriot or patriot, or you call him a national of Finland. Simon Ekpa was, you know, wrongly accused by Nigerian government of abating or influencing act of terrorism in Igbo land or southeastern Nigeria. And if you look at what the young man was fighting for, the young man was fighting for marginalization, exploitation, you know, suppression and oppression of Igbo man in the southeastern Nigeria. Ekpa actually has been, you know, speculated, showcased to be a freedom fighter, you know, in Africa. And actually is a citizen of Finland. So I don't know why Nigeria bribed Finland into playing the role. I don't know what to understand of, you know, let me use the word oppressing Simon Ekpa. Nigeria is doing this thing against all the Biafra agitators like Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, like Ekpa himself. But the way Nigeria bribed Finland into acting so strange, so lately, it is what is shocking the rest of the world. That's why you see God, you know, actually took it upon himself to nail Finland. That man, let me tell you, God has the connection to sue Finland. Yes, into ICC, International Criminal Court. They are going to invite Finland, because Finland, all of a sudden, you know, started behaving strangely, so lately. The balkanization, you know, assistance we are receiving from Finland, even during the time of Nigerian Biafran Civil War, everything just disappeared. We've seen a Finnish ambassador having closed door with Bianca, closed door with Tinubu. All of a sudden, they turn against Simon Ekpa. And that's why Ekpa is just facing the kind of, let me say, animosity currently he is facing in Finland. It is uncalled for. Finland is not supposed to play that kind of, let me say, tyrannical role against her citizen. I'm telling you, Simon Ekpa, the first round of the, you know, court appearance, Simon Ekpa has actually won. He has competent, you know, with him lawyers, and those lawyers, they know what the international law says about agitation for self-realization or even freedom fight. I don't know what to say. Is that correctly freedom fight? Ekpa is fighting for emancipation of his people in the southeastern Nigeria. And Finland is not supposed to have played that kind of tyrannical role because of a contract given or awarded to one of Finnish companies by Nigeria. Just imagine Nigeria using Finland to play. Nigeria that is not developed. Nigeria that is full of political animals. Nigeria that has nothing to do with this third world development or advancement. Nigeria is not there. I'm telling you, if you see the countries that are called third world developing country, Indonesia, Malaysia, you see Philippines, all of them, Nigeria is not there. Obi told them recently, don't compare yourself to Indonesia. You are too poor.
They're bigger than Nigeria.
Now, Indonesia is a big country in Asia, Far East Asia, and not only bigger than Nigeria, they are more populated than Nigeria. How many are we? 200 and these are Indonesia, meaning India in Asia. If you just want to break it into syllables, that's the meaning of Indonesia. And there are many of them. They have population. So when you talk about Asian tiger today, industrialization in Asia, Indonesia is there, Malaysia is there. So we are too poor. I'm telling you, Nigeria is too poor, and that's why they actually believe in giving bribe to the level that Finland actually succumbed and stooped so low to have collected bribe from Nigeria to nail Simon Ekpa. Simon Ekpa is taking Nigeria to ICC very, very soon. And Ekpa has already decided taking Finland to ICC. He has the right to do that. And I'm talking to you now, much human rights activists in the world are gathering for Simon Ekpa. Look at what you said about God. Yes, he's a Jewish lawyer. He's a Jewish activist. I'm telling you, globally renowned Jewish artist.
Biafra lobbyist.
Yes, he's a lobbyist, I know. I know that one, but he's an activist from Israel. I've actually told you that the Igbos are the Jews. We don't hide it anymore. So whatever is happening to Biafran land is happening to Israel. That's why Israel is not happy over what Mazen and the Kanu and Ekpa is going through. So I'm telling you that Finland actually has deviated from playing the role, not only consular role, but the role of, how a country could go to at least protect her citizens. Samuel Ekpa was wrongly accused by Nigeria Janjaweed, the Fulani. And the only thing Finland could have done is turn their back on Nigeria complaint and, diplomatic roles to lure them into, nailing one of their citizens, Mazi Simon Ekpa. So if you ask me, I tell you that Verb Guard has gone too far, very, very far to actually at least fight, give Nigeria and Finland legal battle just over Simon Ekpa ordeal. Ekpa's houses, Ekpa's bank account has been at least released for him. They released it to him because why? He did not commit any crime. I'm telling you, self-realization is freedom fight. And Simon Ekpa is fighting for emancipation of Biafra. Biafra is his own country. Simon Ekpa is no longer Nigeria. There's gold medal he won, during Olympic of, I think, maybe in Barcelona in 1992 or so. He returned it to Nigeria. He said, take your trophy. I don't belong to you again. Is that not a shame? It is a shame. Ekpa has rejected his Nigerian nationality and embraced Finland. And now Finland is playing the role of Wayo country. I've never known that such a Scandinavian Europe like Finland will actually stoop so low because of money, because of cheap contract awarded to one of his companies. I'm telling you, Putin is taking it serious, not only GAD, because GAD actually is a Jew, Putin is a Jew, Russians are Jews. That's why you see how serious they are. And Putin administration is aligning with Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso to stop the Western Europe from stealing our natural resources. This kind of neo-colonial rules, I'm telling you, it just started so lately. I did not know Europe like this before. And it's like the French and the English are now contesting among themselves who will have upper hand over neo-colonial, policies going on all around Africa. So what happened now is that the French has lost their colonies. Like Senegal has actually deviated. Senegal has actually, sent the French packing. Recently, you can see what happened in Mali. Mali has actually turned their back on the French. Then again, Ivory Coast, they are battling it because as America is trying to have military base in Ivory Coast, Ivory Coast is beginning to, Cote d'Ivoire, they are beginning to accuse America. I don't know what I understand. Having military base in Cote d'Ivoire, I don't know what I understand, to attack Burkina Faso. In fact, they are accusing America of having base in West Africa so that they will have military space to strike that Ibrahim Traore. Then you look at Mali. Mali has actually, started, to send France for banishment. France should be banished in Mali. And they have actually done that. You can see what happened in Gabon. You can see what is on course. It's a military adventurism in Niger. France is going. The whole continent are waking up from their slumber. Both the French colony and the English colony. We are tired of a situation whereby someone is using us as mugu at the back door, making us dry. That has been the method of the British and the French. Immediately, African countries, had their independence in the 60s. So, the Jewish Lobyist has actually, seen something in Biafra. Biafra is a very different country currently in Africa now. Biafra is the Prince of Africa and all eyes are on Biafra. So, I think God is doing good work. Verb God, the Jewish Lobyist. Then again, you see the role of Putin to make sure that Biafra, extricates itself from Nigeria. Putin has been on his feet, you know, since 2015, you know, working together hand in hand with Mazen and the Kano. And you can see the role of State of Israel. State of Israel is always with Biafra. That was in 1967 till 1970, until they had Arab-Israeli war. That's why they left Igbo land and went and defend their land. So Israel actually tried. And I'm telling you that Biafra has come. Why? This great support from the Jews is giving Biafra upper hand over Nigeria.
It's definitely going to draw serious attention from ICC, because from the findings so far, according to the prosecutor in Finland, Mazi Samoneba has not been linked with any terrorist organization. And but they are factoring in a lot of things, you know, why Finland will stoop so low, irrespective of whatever gas deal they would have entered with Nigerian government. But so far, you know, so far so good. Mambet Jaffa Gad, you know, has made it very clearly. I think there was a press conference in that regard, you understand, where we'll put it very clearly to, you know, all over the world that he is interested on Ekpa, and is also a Biafra lobbyist from what we are finding out. Who is that? Biafrans need to actually know who is, you know, Mehmet Gad. And Mehmet Gad is a Turkish ambassador. I remember some time ago, we noticed there was a Turkish man who has also showed interest in anything that has to do with Biafra. Time passed during Mazi Nnamdi Kanu travel. You know, I think he was oftentimes issuing out press statements, you know, concerning Mazi Nnamdi Kanu as at that time. But this is a pure scenario entirely, where a non-figure has taken up Simon Ekpa's embattled and has promised to deliver more than 500 international foreign lawyers to Finland currently now to look into Simon Ekpa's case, of which it has attracted world condemnation, you know, given the presence and the looks of Simon Ekpa at that period. Even though we got to know that Simon Ekpa actually came to court through military medical armored vehicle, you know, but that has not yet been confirmed. But what the world leaders and of course Dag is saying at this point in time is that, you know, he is no longer comfortable with the position of Finland on Ekpa's matter. And not only that, you know, he is making reference to what Swedish government and Norway government is talking about, you know, how Alexander stood so low, you know, signaling there must be something behind what is happening in Finland against Simon Ekpa. Currently now, you know, the borders between Norway and Sweden has been shut down as a result of, you know, what Alexander Stubb has actually compromised the standard of Finland as a nation among international community and community of friends all over the world. And the questioning is still ongoing, you know, to identify. Investigation is still ongoing to identify where we are observing such a thing as regards to Biafran agitation. And there was one interesting thing about this inflation figure, even though at a point in time, you know, we discovered that he has had a stint, you know, a clash with South African government. But Biafrans all over the world who are watching this video should go and find out who is actually this man and why he is actually picking interest on anything that has to do with, you know, Simon Ekpa and Biafra. And a lot of people claim that it's one of the Asia Biafra lobbyists within the Asian continent, you know, who is also making sure that at the recognition of Biafra, we are going to experience other Asian nations, you know, buying into their solidarity of recognizing Biafra, you know, as a sovereign nation. But what amazes everybody now is that, you know, at this point in the next Simon Ekpa's court appearance in Finland court, you know, we are going to see more than, you know, 100 volunteers of foreign lawyers who are bent on trying to question the rationale why a Finnish citizen should be tried based on pressure coming from another country on the charges that has no proof of whether Simon Ekpa is linked to, you know, terrorism or not. But thank God, you know, what the Iraqi born lawyer, I'm talking about Kali, Gumarus, who represented Simon Ekpa at the last court appearance. You understand? And he's a reputable figure when it comes to issues like this, and he has taken up that matter. But another figure too is coming in, and what we are seeing now might not be too good for Alexander Stubb. I think the man currently now is in trouble as borders have been shut down, and people are pointing to the inhuman treatment method on Simon Ekpa by Finnish government and a Finnish citizen for that, a Biafra Finnish citizen that has been gathering a lot of storm. That was why they took such decisions currently now. But Abraham Traore and the Russian president are meeting currently now to take a decisive decision on Finland. And remember, Finland and Russia are having a lot of problem, and I can tell you currently now that Russian government has shut down the hydrogen plant that is about to take place in Finland, citing human rights abuse by the Finnish government on a Biafra Finnish citizen, Simon Ekpa. So anybody that is telling you, that Simon Ekpa is not going to come out of this is not telling you the truth. Simon Ekpa has the spread contact, has a lot of contact, has a lot of influence, within the nomadic nations or Scandinavian nations, including Denmark too, So this has actually put pressure, on Finland to look into Simon Ekpa's connection and to know why a Finnish citizen will be tried based on terrorist accusations and petitions filed by government. But from the look of things, Alexander Stubb seems to have, because of Simon Ekpa, took side, against Russian President Vladimir Putin by supporting Ukraine. You can say that. And Russia, and of course, the most influential figure now in Africa, West Africa now, outside Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, is Ibrahim Traore, has made it officially that what is coming to Finland is huge, and that they will seek Biafra liberation anytime, any day, and nobody can stop them, because for economic and social political reasons, these nations I've mentioned has made it very clearly that there is no going back on Sahel revolution, and any time from now Ghana is likely to join the Sahel nation, and of which they are preparing the giant, the Jewish state of Biafra, to be able to join the Sahel nation at the end of the day, leaving ECOWAS and AU, totally paralyzed. And that is the area we are looking at now. But from what you're saying now, the economy of Finland is going down, and there is pressure on the parliament, and there is pressure on the presidency of Finland to do the needful. And from what we are gathering, it looks like as if that this very man we are talking about today, who has been a vocal international pro-Biafran lobbyist, unknowingly to many people. That tells you there's a lot of them scattered all over the world, who are bent on making sure that the world get to recognize Biafra and show solidarity to it. The case of Simon Ekpa currently now is not going to last long the way we see it, but I can tell you that victory at the end of the day is totally guaranteed.
But for Dag, do you think that we know that it's affiliated with the Russian government, Putin to be precise, and also affiliated with Ibrahim Traore? But do you think that if the Finnish government don't do the needful by giving Ekpa what it deserves, do you think that when it takes the Finnish government to the ICC, do you think that this will make the Finnish government do the needful?
I think the judgment should be based on, for them to do the needful, and not to bring any external influence on the judgment they are going to take against Simon Ekpa. And that's why we are seeing this side mobilization against Finnish government to let them know that the whole world is interested in Simon Ekpa, and the whole world is interested on how Simon Ekpa should be arraigned in the first place. Because agitation for freedom, agitation for self-determination is never a crime, and it is already enshrined in the United Nations Charter, you know, that you have right to defend yourself in any political oppression or suppression or killings, which we have experienced a lot of them in Nigeria. Alexander Stroll, because of this man from France, Macron, cannot be toying with fundamental human rights and put his nation, Finland, under the platform of invasion by any country, because all the neighbors, all the countries surrounding Finland currently now has shut down their borders against Finland, and citing the same Simon Ekpa, you know, and that was what attracted this man we are talking about today, Mohammed, you know, Dag, who volunteered to mobilize more than 100 lawyers, international lawyers, to, you know, storm Finland court for Simon Ekpa, and also put the Finnish government on pressure. So you can see the direction where the Russian government is coming in. We're also seeing the angle where, of course, nobody can now tell us that, you know, Ibrahim Traore is not a fletcher in Africa now, currently now. You know, it's one of the outstanding leaders people are looking out onto. Let me give you an example why people are also interested in whatever that comes out from, you know, I think 6 months after Bola Ahmed Tinubu took over power in Nigeria, he was able to, you know, come to power in Burkina Faso. But he has built more than 76 international world-recognized industries and plants. While we saw Mr. President of Nigeria just commissioning those 200-kilometer Calabar-Lagos road, you know, and that's the clear difference, you know. So it has attracted the world to himself, you know, based on his leadership style, based on what he has put on ground in Finland. But it is a clear fact, you know, that whatever Nigerian government are doing with Alexander Stubb, who is the current president in Finland now, is definitely is going to set a precedent where a lot of people will begin to question, you know, the rationale and the way, you know, the whatever bribe that has gone underground will be questioned. Then the ICC factor, I think the same man too is planning to, as we had reported in some platform, that is mobilizing, you know, petitions and getting the ICC government to look into the victory of Simon Ekpa during the court. But what remains at the end of the day, even though nobody's going to judge Simon Ekpa for 6 years, according to the news that is making, rather have to make it very clearly for Simon Ekpa fans all over the world. Simon Ekpa never carried any gun, never killed anybody. He's only an agitator. He's agitating for freedom of the Biafran people, and which is not a crime. So if the Finnish government or the prosecutor is threatening that charges based labeled against Simon Ekpa will attract ICC, but the same Finland again allowed Biafra, you know, to hold their recognition convention festival in Lahti, Finland, you know, and the same Finnish government, you know, has unfrozen the so-called Simon Ekpa account at the end of the day. So what is it that, so it put, this thing is going to show send a lot of signal to Asurok to understand that, you know, 1,000 of them cannot stop Simon Ekpa, and that there are a lot of people who are already, you know, watching the development in Finland, also watching the development in Nigeria concerning Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and the global, you know, solidarity for Biafra is spreading. I can tell you, a few days ago, you know, on 30th May, there was a launch of Biafran embassy right there in Washington. So it is not a crime, you know, for somebody to seek for self-determination, and which Finland government cannot deny what it took them for them to be liberated from Russia, you know, territory and become a nation. So if they are doing that, no, definitely, well, you know, there's a lot attached to it, and that is what we are questioning. How come we are seeing more Finnish citizens in the gas industry and crude industry in Nigeria, where we see more of them? So you can see the kind of thing that is going on, you know, just because, you know, people doesn't want to be killed by so-called influence of the Fulani in Abuja, or so-called influence under a Fulani government in Nigeria. That is a quite disturbing one, and there's going to be a global resistance to whatever the Finnish government are trying to do, or to bridge the fundamental human right and the right for somebody to agitate for freedom. And that is what Simon Ekpa is doing. And based on that, that's why we are seeing all this thing happening. That just give you a breaking news and an insight of what is already building up within Finland. All for Simon Ekpa. Simon Ekpa is not alone. The world is hearing, the world is watching, the global community is watching, the international community is watching, the ICC is watching, human rights organizations is watching, civil society organizations all over the world are watching, and they will know at the end of the day whether Finland will survive Ekpa or Ekpa will survive Finland. Thank you.